This football season, Regions doesn't want anything to get between you and the game you love, especially not a lost or stolen card. Lock It lets you lock your card before you even report the problem. Plus, with Lock It, you can use your Regions mobile app to customize your card protection for a little extra game day peace of mind. Because we get it. Some things are bigger than banking. Learn more at regions.com/lockit. Regions, member FDIC, data fees may apply.
Guys, you've heard me talk about Indochino and how made-to-measure suits fit better compared to generic off-the-rack suits. So if you haven't checked them out yet, now's the time, especially when they're available at such great prices. Indochino is North America's leading made-to-measure menswear company. They make suits and shirts to your exact measurements for an incredible fit and comfort. Very easy to get started. Visit a stylist at their showroom and have them take your measurements personally, or measure at home yourself and shop online at Indochino.com. Guys love the option to personalize the details, including your lapel, lining, pockets, buttons, and writing your own monogram. So get your perfect suit and just watch as the compliments roll in. And November is Black Friday season, meaning 2018's lowest prices, up to 70% off everything. Make an entrance at your holiday parties with Indochino. This week, our listeners can get Black Friday pricing by using the code Golic at checkout. That's 70% off the regular price for a made-to-measure suit, plus shipping free. That's Indochino.com, promo code Golic for up to 70% off. Incredible deal for a made-to-measure suit. Once you go custom, you don't go rack.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line as we are officially in pre-holiday season mode, leading up to Thanksgiving. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here with you. All right, let's get it out of the way. Woo! Today's going to be insufferable. Beans! For those of you watching on ESPN2, Woo! Senior is holding up the Notre Dame flag.
Hey,
Junior,
Stanzik, how's your team? How's Syracuse doing?
Guys,
Woo!
the Bears were great last night, huh? How about them? Let's go.
No.
Sunday nighter.
You don't get to switch it that early. You knew this was coming.
I'm putting
Is
heads
Trubisky
on
that
pikes
good?
this morning, man. We're putting them out in front of the kingdom, letting everybody know how serious this business is. Laying waste to every Syracuse grad in the building this morning. Syracuse, stand up. Northwestern, stand up. How about y'all sit the hell down?
Yeah,
Every single one of you.
Sit down.
Guys,
because
you
Notre
guys
Dame
won.
not only won that game, they're going to crush USC and be in the playoffs. So all you Notre Dame haters out there,
Yeah.
I won't know.
Just say,
Okay,
you got
hold
real.
on.
You got
Hold
real.
on.
Careful
Hold
for a
on.
second.
Hold
It's
on.
careful.
You know
Stick
what,
it.
though?
How about that? Stick it. How about that?
We restrained ourselves because
Yeah.
we're classy.
I wanted to know. I thought that's what you were going to say. What were you thinking instead of saying stick it?
Something
I'm just
else
curious.
very, very bad.
First of all, Stanzik, are you okay?
I'm great, guys. Monday morning. The Bears were awesome last night.
Yeah.
That Bears defense is really good,
Say,
huh?
what'd you do Saturday, Stanzik?
You know, went down to New York City, had some fun with some friends, you know.
Did you go by Yankee
Good
Stadium
Saturday.
at all?
Yeah,
Did you go by
swung
Yankee
by the
Stadium at all?
Bronx. Yeah, had a good time.
It's amazing.
Go check out the ball game at all? Or?
Yeah. Woo! Stephen A. was the only one who came on Twitter and said, you know what? Got this one wrong. Everybody else was like, oh, Syracuse really wasn't that good anyway.
Oh, you know, the Olympics,
man.
you guys are going to pull something
Yeah.
bending over backwards to try and discredit this win from this weekend. But you can't. We're here.
Yeah.
We're going to the
Yeah.
playoff,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to deal with us
Yeah.
now.
For all of you that said, oh, God, the Golics are going to be insufferable on Monday. Yeah, we are. And you're right. Notre Dame's going to the playoffs. Deal with it. Your team's not. Unless it's Alabama, Clemson, or Michigan, probably.
Yeah. Let me
They can
just
come
say.
too. They can come too.
Let me just say I knew this was coming.
Oh, yeah. And it's just starting.
Lean into it, though. You should lean into it, right? Because you guys destroyed that team. Sarah lose, as you said.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not because you guys back in 2012 when we made this run, you and Mom were all in on
We were
this.
all in.
You guys leaned to it every bit. On my side, we had to kind of maintain our
Yeah, you
composure
did.
and
You
maintain
did.
the focus the way this group has to now. They got a business trip coming up to Southern Cal, but I get to party now. I get to be a part of the fun stuff now, and I am going all in on this. What a great time.
Bring it on, you Notre Dame haters. It's all of you.
Well, did you go Mike Gundy on me?
Yeah, I did.
Twitter.
Oh,
He does it well.
oh, wait a minute. By the way, you know who else I'd like to hear from this morning?
Yeah.
How's Peter Burns doing? Check in on our boy
Peter
PB.
Moran's our SEC guy.
You peanut butter and jelly this morning, Peter?
Uh-huh.
Well, peanut butter and jealous action, because right now we're kicking the door in on the party. 2 SEC teams, all that stuff. You can have whatever you want. We're going to be there. First round bye, my bleep.
Mm-hmm. How curious were you guys to see what was going on with that Alabama Citadel game? When I saw 10 at half, I was like, a lot of eyes in Vegas are like, what's going on here?
The only thing I said when I saw that was, man, do I not want to be an Alabama player in the locker room at halftime of that game.
I bet Nick Saban smiled going into that locker room, because that's exactly
what
all he needs going forward now. I have a conspiracy. I think he threw the first half so he could get that result that he wanted out of that.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about in college. I know we're not starting there.
My God.
Holy smokes.
We're going down the Nick Saban threw the first half route. All right, I like it. I'm leaning into this. I'm very excited. Rule number 1, kids. Just rule number 1. Just live with this and you'll feel better about yourselves. Never give 51.5, right? It's just that simple. Never. When someone says 51.5, you say, I'll take the 51.5.
Yeah.
I am never giving the 51.5. 51.5.
Saints might be 51.5 point favorites over someone.
There I might give it.
That's true.
2 games. We'll get into that in a minute, just how dominant they've been over the last couple of weeks. But we have to start with the game last night. As the Chicago Bears, listen, this was the way Chicago wants to win, whether it's this season or any other season. They take care of the Minnesota Vikings in a game which really puts the Bears now on a trajectory to be the team to beat in the NFC North, and they did it in the most Chicago way. We'll get just enough offense and smother you with our defense. It was impressive.
Again, the greatest thing about a great defense is you're always in a game.
Correct.
You're always in a game, and let's be honest, what have we been talking about all year with the Bears as they continue to win is the maturation process for Mitchell Trubisky. They got wide receivers in there. They have a 2-headed attack in the backfield as well. The old line had been somewhat healthy until they lose their best one in Kyle Long, and that certainly has been a shame for them. And then Mitch needed to progress in this offense. But I tell you what, I love the way Matt Nagy calls the game. They in Kansas City, I think, have, which is not shocking, that's where he came from, have the most window dressing on plays for regular plays. They do more motioning for up-the-gut plays, and they'll run enough of those jet sweeps. And I thought Chris Collinsworth did a great job of showing what all that motion does and plays do in freezing linebackers on the defense to open you up, whether it's horizontally or then vertically down the field. They do a nice job of play calling. I'm still Mitchell Trubisky. When he runs a ball, man, I love him. When he throws the ball down the field, man, I'm still a little bit nervous.
He's going to make a couple of those mistakes, but they've done a good job of putting him in position to limit the impact those mistakes can have over the course of the game. So there were still a couple of turnovers in there, but throwing the ball downfield, he's better than I've given him credit for in recent weeks. And give even more credit, like you said, to the play calling here for embracing the gifts, the designed quarterback runs that we saw for the guy that now leads quarterbacks in the NFL in rushing yards, and I think leads the league in yards per carry average. When you embrace all of those parts of your player's skill set, you make it a lot more easier for him to be confident in doing the things that he's maybe not as good at right now.
The game was interesting on a couple of levels based on both quarterbacks. And as we said, Mitchell gives you those wow plays when he runs. We're still looking for that little more consistency when he throws. But, whether Matt Nagy, the head coach of the Bears, wants to admit it or not, this was a statement win in front of a national audience.
Well, I don't know if it was making a statement tonight. I think for us, what it would be is just that we feel like in any game that we can play with anybody in this league, but we always respect whoever it is. And so this is a team that, making it to the NFC Championship game last year and being able to play some good football. They're good, and so we know that, and our guys want to be a part of that, and so that's what we were able to do.
Listen, we can talk about Mitch and all that kind of stuff, but can we just once again realize what an ultimate franchise build-around player Khalil Mack is? I mean, he did it again. He comes up with a sack. He comes up with a forced fumble and recovers the fumble. And when he wasn't sacking Cousins or stripping the ball from players, he was in their face on almost every
Well, listen,
rush.
between him on the outside and Akeem Nicks on the inside, again, the place, Hicks, where a quarterback doesn't want the pressures coming straight up the middle on him, that's what Hicks was doing all night as well. But Mac, and then they're again, we see the single protection with Riley Reif. I felt bad for the guy out there at left tackle. That one-arm stab at one point, that leverage throw that he had on Reif, that Mac had, was ridiculous. But you're right. If it wasn't a sack, if Mac was wearing cologne, then Kirk Cousins is going to know what cologne it was because he was around him all night. That D-line, the pressure on them, forcing them into turnovers as well. You're gonna live with that, and you're gonna again be in every game because of that. They're a very complete team, offensively and defensively, without question.
They do it all. They got performance. Eddie Jackson on the back end last night with the interception
pick
late
six,
to
yeah.
really seal it with the pick six. But when Khalil Mack is healthy, and this is no disrespect to Aaron Donald, who is absolutely in this weight class, but production-wise and for what he's meant to the team, when he's healthy, Khalil Mack is the runaway defensive player of the year. There is multiple spots between him and the next closest player as far as impact, because you watched last night, like you mentioned, the instances for either Tyler O'Neill or for Riley Reif on either side where they were singled up were few and far between.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why did they keep doing that?
But they didn't. But that's the thing is, you can only do the rest of what they were doing so much before you completely just bleep up your entire offense. What the Vikings want to do to some sense is still be who they are. They're an offense with great skill players and a lot to use. But you saw the amount of times they were lining Kyle Rudolph up at tight end on whatever side he was on to try and buy in some time, chipping backs that way, sliding protection that way. They did a ton of different things, and you saw their focus was not how do we get yards, how do we get first downs, how do we get the ball to Adam Thielen like we didn't do for the majority of the first half. Right. Their focus was how do we account for Khalil Mack on the beginning of every play, and that completely distracted them from playing offensive football.
Yeah, as I've said a million times, sure want to build a franchise around that guy instead of letting him go.
I mean, you keep hearing the people that trying to defend the move saying, well, you don't want your quarterback making $25 million, and a defensive player making $20 million.
Get out.
Gang, it's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, the salary cap is going to keep going up. It's going to happen. You want guys like that on your team. As I'll continue to say, the Raiders have all these first-round picks, 5 in the next 2 years. If they get one to turn out like Khalil Mack, they'll be ecstatic about that, but then probably trade him away before they have to pay him. So I just don't get it. I mean, here is what Matt Nagy is doing. There has been one coach in his first 10 games. Matt Nagy is 7-3. There has been one Chicago Bear coach that has been better, George Halas. Yeah. George Halas was 9-0-1 in his first 10 games.
And all he is the guy that founded the league, and they've got his initials on their jersey. So, I mean, that's what we're talking about with what Matt Nagy has done here. So that's one side of the equation. On the other side, $84 million bet. That's what the Vikings did, an $84 million bet that was what they needed. Get Kirk Cousins in there to put them over the top because they had the running game, they had the defense, they had everything else. They just weren't sold on Case Keenum. Well, let's hold off on that. As Ryan Clark astutely points out, this is why you paid that guy.
Right now, they're not playing good enough defense. Coming into this year, it was about what the Minnesota Vikings were defensively last year. They're not getting the same type of pressure on the quarterback, not creating the turnovers that we've seen. And you went out and got Kirk Cousins to go win games like this that they played tonight, and he just wasn't good enough. You saw the interception to Eddie Jackson. That put points on the board for the Chicago Bears. He can't make those mistakes if he wants to be the guy that's the franchise guy for the Minnesota Vikings and makes that contract look like he deserved it.
Right, because that's basically what they said. And Ryan had some really good points about the defense, but at the end of the day, if you're guaranteeing $84 million, you're telling Kirk Cousins that in 3 years, we need to get to and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I agree with Ryan. I look at the defense more.
I mean, totally fair.
If you sit there and tell me my quarterback is completing 70% of his passes for almost 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, I feel pretty good about that. You got one of your guys in Thielen right up near the top in receiving and leading in the league in receiving. Diggs is a hell of a receiver. He had a big night last night for them. You have a Pro Bowler who was a Pro Bowler, Kyle Rudolph, rounding back into that form again. O-line has been an issue there of health. Last year it was in a lot better shape than they are this year. I look at that defense and say that defense to me has fallen off.
It has, and game plan-wise, I think that the Bears were able to do more to knock that defense off balance than Minnesota was able to do.
Correct.
But the thing is I can make this about Kirk Cousins, but he's been great this season. He was pressured 17 dropbacks last night. The numbers indicate that he was so markedly worse. What is it? He has the lowest off-target rate in the NFL coming into last night.
Yeah.
And last night it went grossly in the other direction because you had a defensive player affect the game at the level of a quarterback last night. Khalil Mack was a quarterback last night. When we talk about the influence you can have on a game, and even with the J.J. Watts and the Aaron Donalds of the world, we don't always get to say that they've influenced the game in the same way. But that was the specter that Khalil Mack was last night. So we can say all these things about Kirk Cousins. He had someone in his face. Yeah, he had a few throws that you have to have back and be better than. But I've watched Kirk Cousins make, and I heard Dan Orlovsky talking about this, 3 or 4 throws a game from Kirk Cousins where you stand up out of your chair. There have been 3 or 4 $84 million throws from Kirk Cousins a game so far, and last night they weren't there because the guy playing defense was just better than everyone else.
And you have to talk, and we keep talking about Khalil Mack, and listen, he deserves to be talked about. There's no doubt about it. But, with the sacks they have, 32, they have 18 interceptions. I mean, give that secondary.
Say that again.
18 interceptions. You talk about not only Mack and Hicks rushing the passer, as I said, from the inside and the outside, but notice how many run plays they were on as well, tackling guys at the line of scrimmage or causing fumbles. The Minnesota Vikings rushed average 1.6 per carry last night. I mean, those guys played the run well. You have 2 tackling machines in Trevathan and Smith, Roquan Smith, the 2 linebackers. And then again, the DBs, 18 interceptions. 18, led by Kyle Fuller. He has 4 of them. So, I mean, they're doing it on all levels. And Mac's going to get to talk, and I agree with you guys. He could be the Defensive Player of the Year, and he is the catalyst for all this, but they got some ballers on that defense.
The best thing you said right there is they have 18 interceptions, and the guy that has the team total, the high total, is 4. That tells you everybody is taking the ball away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different guys. 10 different guys. That is so hard to do. 18 interceptions, your leader is 4, 10 different guys have picked the ball off from the opposition. And that's why when we always talk about quarterbacks getting the lion's share of the credit and the blame when they win or lose, it really is never about them specifically. Like, because of what happened last night, air quotes now, Kirk Cousins is 4-12 as a starter in primetime games. But as you said, outside of the 1 interception, he played really well. He was harassed all night long, and there was nothing he was going to do about that one way or the other. So we'll get into more of the Bears a little bit later on and how much we actually are sold on them going forward. Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. This year we celebrate 6 years and over 600 cars given to vets, giving thanks by providing independence for those who protect it. Learn more at keystoprogress.com. Meanwhile, get you caught up on a couple of things and what's trending and just throw it out there. Kyrie, what'd you think? LeBron James scored 51 points Sunday in the Los Angeles Lakers' 113-97 win over Miami, marking James' first career win in Miami since leaving the Heat in 2014. And to get 51, the game was already won. Shot clock running down, 10 seconds left, hoisted up at 3 to win it for 51.
Yeah, a little different in the last episode we talked about this. It was the game clock running out, and everybody was just standing around. The game was still going on. The shot clock was about to run out. And what was he basically said he was dared by Lance Stevenson to do that, to make that shot. And he did it. He becomes the 5th player in league history to score 50-plus points with 3 different franchises. Jamal Crawford, Bernard King, Moses Malone, and, of course, Wilt Chamberlain. When you're talking about any kind of scoring on and off the court, quite honestly, you're going to talk about Wilt Chamberlain. So.
Literally any kind of scoring.
Any kind of scoring, yeah.
Yes, exactly, in every way, shape, or form. Also, broke a tie with Allen Iverson for 6th most 50-point games in NBA history. It was that kind of night. I was surprised to hear this was his first win going back to Miami since he had left there in all of this. But listen, the Lakers continue to surge, and LeBron James, it is amazing how no one's going to say anything like that for a guy as accomplished as LeBron James. Kyrie Irving taking shots where he knows he can hit them.
That's exactly right. Here's my favorite stat about what happened last night in that game. The Lakers are now 9-7 in LeBron's first year. His first year in Miami, they started 9-7, went to the NBA Finals and lost. His first year back with Cleveland in 2014, they were 9-7 through 16 games and went to the NBA Finals that year and lost. I'm just putting it out there.
Man, would they take that?
Just putting it out there right now, Junior.
Sorry, guys. Closed the door last week. You had your chance, and I'll enjoy seeing you guys from my seats at the NBA Finals. Appreciate that,
I think I'm banging on that door right now. LeBron James was in the zone, brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. And if he's in the zone, we don't know what zone the Warriors are. Oh, yeah, I know what zone they're in. They're in the zone where they just prove once and again how important Steph Curry is to everything they do. The Warriors lost 104-92 in San Antonio last night, making it the first time since 2011 they've been swept on their Texas trip, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. And they are 2-4 without Steph Curry this season, guys.
Yeah, listen, we know the dust up between Kevin Durant and
dust
Draymond
up is a
Green.
Great word, by the way. Nicely done.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, but as they both said, or Kevin Durant said it, out loud in a presser, said it's a long season. They're gonna work through these things. Boogie Cousins will be on the floor at some point for that team, but it is just a testament to Steph Curry and the glue he is for that team. They're going to right the ship. Anybody thinks that all of a sudden they're going to be this horrible team this year, I think that's ridiculous. They're going to right the ship, but it's a little more realistic of a view than they've had in the last 4.5 years, that's for sure.
Well, it is. Steve Kerr's comments after the game were really funny. Do we have those?
We do.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr. Every other NBA coach is like, welcome to our existence, pal. Here is Steve Kerr.
I've had a dream run for, 4.5 years. We've had, such a charmed existence the last 4 seasons. So, yeah, of course, this is the toughest stretch we've been in. But this is the real NBA, We haven't been in the real NBA the last few years. We've been in this dream, and so now we're faced with real adversity, and we got to get out of it ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Warriors.
You
right?
guys do this all the time. They're like, Steve Kerr's looking at these other coaches. You do this all the time? Exactly. How do you guys live like this? It's utter filth.
Listen, man, we can talk about all the players they have, and obviously Draymond was out with the sprained toe, and right. Steph missed another game. Steph is everything to this team. He's everything to this team because of the space he creates.
He is, but this team's still good enough to boat race teams without him. This is the early portion. We saw last year how little they valued the regular season. Do we think adding another championship and a little more drama is going to make them value this portion of the season more? They're going to turn it on when they need to still, with or without Steph Curry. I would still bet on them going forward. Steph is otherworldly important. He's a great player and maybe has been more of a locker room presence than we give him credit for, but they're still good enough to win without him.
I love how you just made that transition, because in the last story you were talking about, hey, come with me when the Lakers are in the finals. For them to get to the finals, they'd have to beat the Warriors, whom you just said, come on, they're still going to get there.
The Western Conference Finals is a form of the finals in its own right.
What are they? They're 12-6 right now?
Yeah.
Last year, after 15 games, they were 10-5.
There you go.
I mean, are we worrying?
And Steph Curry was hurt back then, too.
Yeah, I don't think we're worried.
It just shows you how critically important he is to everything they want to do because of the space he provides everybody else. All right, we'll get into more of that a little bit later, but coming up, they aren't just marching. They are running, stomping in and around over people.
I can't believe it.
That Philip brought his little brother on our mission into orbit.
How long until we get there? How long until we get there? How long until we get there?
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
What's this button do? What's this button do? What's this button do? What's this button do?
Don't touch that. Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You know about Blink motion-activated security cameras. Amazing technology for detecting anyone sneaking around your home or trying doors, and of course, monitoring holiday package deliveries. Blink is inviting ESPN listeners to score massive savings during its Black Friday Cyber Monday event. Go to blinkprotect.com/radio and sign up for an alert when the sale starts. That's blinkprotect.com/radio. Or hit Amazon.com and search Blink Security. Blink is an Amazon company.
Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We'll have Adam Schefter coming up in about an hour. Maria Taylor from Game Day will join us to talk about a tumultuous weekend in college football and the potential for what may be happening going forward. Plus, we'll have Jeff Saturday and Jason Witten will join us for a Monday Night Football preview again. Have we mentioned that the Rams and Chiefs at 9-1 are playing on Monday Night Football, 8-1?
Hopefully it lives up, man. I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? They want that, unless you're a former defensive player, you want to see 45-40. I guess I kind of do, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in that with us,
lean into it.
I don't have to be in those film sessions, so that's okay.
We'll make sure Jason Witten crushes up some baby aspirin in his oatmeal this morning. Get that heart medication ready, brother.
It is ready. By the way, it is time for the straightest of Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Look, we'll put it out there. The Rams are a very good team. Chiefs are a very good team. The Patriots have a lot of history, blah, blah, blah. dude, just appreciate what we're seeing from the New Orleans Saints.
All I have to say to you, Trey, is come Wednesday, I don't care what happens tonight.
Yeah.
New Orleans better be number one in your rankings. They
won last week. They were number one last week. They won. You're good.
Oh,
you're good.
No. We've seen you do some dumb
alert.
stuff, okay?
My God. You're drunk. He's drunk with power.
Yeah,
drunk on something. I'll tell you that much.
What about tonight's winner? Maybe they'll be one.
No, that's what I said. I said
possibility.
Listen, if one of these teams really went out and just smacked the other around.
Yeah.
Like if we got a Kansas City Chiefs team that went out there and hung 50 on
I'm just
the Rams
not doing
defense.
it because I think New Orleans, take those three teams. New Orleans has a better defense than both those teams. New Orleans is the more complete team of those three teams. And we weren't saying that earlier. We're like, wait a minute, this New Orleans defense are not what they were last year. All of a sudden, they have rounded back into form of what they were last year.
Which is amazing because this is the same team that lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and almost lost to the Browns.
If the Browns had a semblance of a kicker, not even a good kicker, like an average NFL kicker, the Saints would have started 0-2 for the second straight year. But you're right. Just understand what we're seeing here. Drew Brees, did he miss once when throwing to Michael Thomas yesterday? I don't think he did. Or if he did, it was late in the fourth quarter. At one point, he was 9 for 9 on targeting Michael Thomas yesterday, which goes right along with their season average. But over the last 2 weeks, the Saints have outscored the opposition 99-14. And my God, Mike, in this day and age, that 14 is a hell of a lot more impressive than the 99.
You know, and you love the way they do it because we know about what Kamara does, but it was actually Ingram who had over 100 yards. We know what Michael Thomas does. He was targeted 4 times, 4 catches for 92 yards. But it's opportunity, man. Opportunity. And that's Traquan Smith. Traquan Smith got his opportunity when Ted Ginn Jr. went on IR in October. This kid got brought up and going along, and obviously not right out of the gate. But here it is. When you start making catches, you start getting the confidence of your quarterback. And when you get the confidence of Drew Brees, and Drew Brees, he was targeted 13 times, Traquan Smith was last night, and had 10 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. So opportunity, you take advantage of it. He did. Drew Brees wasn't afraid to go to him. It was either that or throw to one of the hills that were out there as well. And they just have so many ways to go.
It's amazing, this team, we talk about how well they drafted in the last couple of years, but some of the young guys they brought on, we mentioned not only Traquan Smith, but the Saints. A lot of the talk has been about signing veteran wide receivers. They tried to bring in Dez Bryant. Obviously, the injury no one could have seen coming. They signed Brandon Marshall. He wasn't active for this game. But you know who they did call up? Was Keith Kirkwood.
Thank you.
And Austin Carr, who had been up. Austin Carr, one of the more productive college receivers ever. Northwestern alum there. And then Keith Kirkwood. Keith
Kirkwood.
Tough.
It's Woman's Crush Wednesday.
You're still, I know, on Notre Dame High right now.
No,
That's okay.
I
get it.
I guess we're all a little drunk on something this morning.
Well, way to save it.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
But, I mean, and these are guys that Drew Brees has vouched for, that were on their scout team and that they brought up. And now, if you get added production out of them down the stretch of the season, or in spots when you need them, because we know they've been concerned with having a true number 2 outside of Michael Thomas.
Right.
Now you've just added that embarrassment of wealth, and that's what this team has done so well. They've continued to add in places where it's not necessary, but they understand where they want to go and what they want to try to avoid from last year. That has to be the case.
And you know what that speaks to is coaching and scouting. Development, finding players that you think can work in your system, and then developing them. For have someone like Kirkwood come off the practice squad up to the active roster and do that speaks to what Sean Payton and his staff have done. And by the way, Ferris Bueller was absent 9 times.
Yeah.
This is 9 straight wins for Sean Payton and company.
Well, listen, you are what your record is, and so I didn't say we weren't pretty good. We're 9-1 right now, and we've got a lot of season left. So I'm not downplaying what we've done, and so those guys are in there playing the music loud. And you want me to smile more? I'll smile more.
You just listen. You just enjoy it now, and we can't say enough about the new weapons of Kirkwood or Traquan Smith. Again, Smith, no catches, 1 catch, no catches, first 4 games, and then 3 a game for a few games, and then all of a sudden he breaks out with this one. Is building confidence. As a rookie from UCF, so he came from a successful program. We'll talk obviously about that a little later, but building confidence with those other players. But I still say we always know New Orleans is going to score. It's that other side of the ball. that is playing 3 sacks yesterday again. I mean, they're playing some good ball outside of those first couple of games. They're starting to round back into what we saw, which I think makes them the best and most dangerous team in the NFL.
It does. Now, what we also have to acknowledge and account for is on the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles are a mash unit right now. And the biggest difference between last year and this year is they were hurt last year, and they managed to freakishly overcome it, and now they've regressed to what normally happens when you get hurt across the board as much as you do. When your starting center's out for the majority of the game, when your defensive backfield's down 3 guys at this point, all across the board, you have lost quality on that team in a league where you just can't do it at that rate and expect to have years where you somehow wind up winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, listen, people need to understand just how out-of-the-box crazy what happened last year was. I mean, let's just say in any way, shape, or form, the top 5 positions on an NFL football team are quarterback, a guy that catches the ball, a guy that defends the catcher, a guy that protects someone trying to take your quarterback's head off, and the pass rusher, right? Those are the top 5, right? 2 of their top 5 last year were injured. Carson Wentz goes out as the MVP. Jason Peters, one of the greatest left tackles as a converted tight end of all time, goes out, and they go on to win the Super Bowl. That just doesn't happen. By the way, did you guys see the saltiness when it was 4th and 7 and they went for it? And the Malcolm Jenkins
flipped off Sean Payton.
Well,
he apologized.
It was Kamara on Malcolm Jenkins, and he saw the matchup, and they threw it long, and they got a touchdown. And Malcolm, in the heat of the moment, flipped off Sean Payton again.
He
Malcolm
said he
Jenkins
was number 1.
There. I get it, but my thought, I don't want to hear a word out of anybody today about, the Saints shouldn't do that. You know what? You know those movies when you want to keep going really fast on the highway, but you don't want to sit in the driver's seat anymore, and you throw that piece of wood on the gas pedal and wedge it into the seat so you're going 1,000 miles an hour? That's their offense.
Correct.
That's what they do, and they don't apologize for it, and they shouldn't apologize for it. So I don't want to hear anybody say, they didn't need to do that. If you don't want them to do it, stop them. And right now, no one's stopping them.
As Bill Belichick said in his Double Bird tour of 2007, I was just giving the defense an opportunity to stop us.
There you go.
By the way, I know because we're going to get ready to see one of the best teams in the NFC, one that we think, Saints, Rams could be an NFC playoff. I would give a lot of money for on the way to that in the NFC playoffs, Saints, Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see that defense go up against a Saints offensive line that has been one of the less talked about but better offensive lines in football, and Drew Brees at quarterback. Sign me up.
Yeah, I'm all for that one. And that is definitely Straight Talk, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up, to go for 2 or not for 2? That is the question, and we'll discuss Camlet after this word.
Wow.
Football fans, Adam Schefter here. You know me for breaking news around the league, and I just received a tip. Vivid Seats is offering ESPN fans 10% off football tickets, but you have to act fast. Head to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN at checkout to receive 10% off your first order. Vivid Seats is the official ticket partner of ESPN, and with their 100% buyer guarantee, there's no reason to miss a game this year. Don't wait. This offer ends soon.
Guarantee and promotional terms available on vividseats.com.
Golic and Wingo is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. When a player doesn't like a contract, they hold out, right? With Straight Talk Wireless, you never have to because there is no contract. And they use the same exact 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
All right, Golic and Wingo here with you on the pre-Monday before Thanksgiving. The pre-Thanksgiving Monday is the shorter way I tried to say that in English words. We're glad you're with us. There was so much that went on this weekend, and again, we have to say kudos to you, sir, and you, sir, for your Notre Dame destruction of Syracuse. Syracuse? What do you call it there? Syracuse?
You don't have to say congrats. You can just go right to it.
No. We're leaning
have to do that.
We're leaning in today because we are
the pettiest show in America.
We're leaning into it. We're leaning into it.
Notre Dame they're 8.5-point favorites against SC. That's a double-digit win. SC just lost to UCLA. They're having a rough year. I know you guys had you had to win in USC in 2012 to make it to the title game. That wasn't a game. The score was closer than I think the game really was.
Closer than it should have been. This team ain't going to let that happen.
They're not going to let it happen.
Yeah, right. We'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, congratulations to you guys. There were 2 teams that I thought were very confusing yesterday in the NFL. The Tennessee Titans. We'll talk about the Colts and the credit they deserve, but we're talking about Tennessee coming off that big win. You think they got some momentum going, and they get smoked. And can someone figure out Carolina for me, by the way? They were rolling. Then they played Pittsburgh on that Thursday night and let a 50-burger go on the board. Then they go to Detroit, a Detroit team that is having all kinds of issues, so many issues that their head coach, Matt Patricia, had to open one press conference this week with an 891-word opening statement about why he practiced out of doors, right? Which was, talk about leaning into the petty. Good for you. But then they lose to Detroit, and they lose to Detroit in kind of spectacular fashion. They come back with a touchdown. Graham Gano, their kicker, had missed a field goal and an extra point, so they decided to go for the win. They go for 2 in the win instead of kick the extra point, which would have tied it with about a minute left.
Minute 7 to go,
And here's head coach Ron Rivera explaining the decision.
Well, I think you go for 2 on the road to win the game. And that's what I did at the end of the day. What's to say the coin toss is going to go in our favor? What's to tell you we're going to stop them? So why not go for 2?
About Graham's struggles earlier.
Well, he missed a couple kicks. I mean, that's all part of it. When I was going for the win, that's just the bottom line.
And they asked him about it again.
I went for 2 to win the football game, okay? That's all I'm going to say about it. That was my mindset. We didn't come here to tie. We didn't come here to lose. We came here to win the football game. And I just felt that was our best opportunity to win.
So, did you have any problem with the call?
I have no problem with a team like a team going for a win. As it said, on the road, because that's a lot of times the way you look at it when you're supposed to, by the book, do that. And listen, the play was there. The play was there. Was it Jarius Wright?
Yeah.
Was open.
The play was there to be made.
Cam just missed him. It was eerily similar to Maryland the day before playing Ohio State. Maryland had a lead basically throughout the game, and they went for it in overtime. A lot of people, because Maryland was at home, questioned them going for 2 and not going to another overtime. My God, they didn't stop Ohio State in the second half. Ohio State had it was close to 700 yards of total offense, and it was basically the same thing. The same type of pass to a wide open receiver that the quarterback just missed. I mean, it was eerily similar of wide open players and quarterbacks just missing them. And that would have been overtime. That would have been the ball game. Maryland would have won that. Now this one yesterday, there was still a minute 7 left. So if they got it, Detroit would have had a chance. But I have no problem with either one of those calls because boy, their receivers were wide open.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. The play was right there, and if you've got something that you like enough in that situation, and you can't ignore the Graham Gano factor in that when you've got that hanging in the back of your mind. We've seen too many games lost this year because of errors on the side of kicking, and so more often than not, if your offense, especially at that point, is finally rolling and finally getting to a place where, all right, Cam's completing some passes, he did enough to get you down there, let's just try and keep riding that right now. We've got a call we like, and you just got to execute.
But listen, he could have executed it in a couple of ways. One, the throw was there and he missed it.
Yeah.
Secondly, my God, he had 6 seconds. Now, there was sort of a must rush, I get it, by the Lions.
Yeah.
But you're Cam Newton. You've made your career before this season, really, on finding ways when the machine breaks down to run with your legs and make a play there. Were you surprised at some point he didn't just take off and go for it?
No, because the guy was wide open.
Yeah.
He had time to sit there and wait for somebody to come open, and the wide receiver was open. So if I choose to run, he's in the pocket 5 yards, through a little bit of mesh. Could he have made it? He very well could. But he had a wide open guy. I mean, just drop the dime right in there and the ball, and you have the lead.
And that's what you want from your quarterback is if you've got your legs as an option to still have the trust in receivers that he sees open. You talked about that other game with Tennessee. I thought more often than not, Marcus Mariota was rattled by the rush and did not have that same trust in his receivers and would tuck it down and ended up taking a lot of hits in that game. So that's what you want to see from Cam Newton. He just missed a throw. It's sometimes it's just that simple.
Just that simple. Yeah.
And it was there to be made. And by the way, I'm glad you brought up the Colts because they're not going to get a lot of discussion after what happened in Week 11 because of their record being what it is, and while other teams were doing amazing things like the Saints and what we saw with the Bears and of course the Monday night game, that Indianapolis team, they're going to be a problem for everybody they play the rest of this season and going into next season.
You say 5 games without giving up a sack?
Yeah. They're the best team in the AFC South. They're better than the Texans.
Correct. Who have won 7 straight games, by the way. First time a team's
done
done
that. MRI to be good on Ryan Kelly, their center, who went out with a knee. That would hurt him.
And again, let's more than anything else, don't get it twisted. If you have protection, you have a chance. If you don't have protection, you don't got a chance. Coming up, history repeating itself for a king, and things are getting ugly for a team we thought was pretty good.
And now, a thought from Geico Motorcycle.
It took 15 minutes to purchase the gas station egg salad. Eat the gas station egg salad, and regret the gas station egg salad as you presented numbers to the board. To add insult to injury, you could have used those 15 egg salad minutes to switch your motorcycle insurance to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.